Is this just fantasy? Why, indeed so. And this is Savage Wizard, issue 1. And this is a creator owned work, an independent comic that I actually met the creator of it at a comic event, Leslie Julian. Super cool guy, and apparently a good writer. So he is the writer of Savage Wizard. We also have co-contributors Brian Flint, Doug Wood, and Tobin Rasencott. So we're back with barbarians. Favorite archetype of the fantasy genre, it would seem. But Savage Wizard, we have something a little different. It's kind of treated with a little more kind of maybe a little more comedy, but it's also like some interesting world building to it. Apparently, this was a Kickstarter book, or a book that was at least put together through Kickstarter, and great that they were able to get it together. And we got a nice cool cover here. I think there's other covers that you could have gotten, but I just picked up this one because it looked awesome. And also open up the front page here, and we have a just awesome like ogres and shit, and they're about to get into a battle with some barbarians here, and yeah, just great visuals all around. So yeah, Brian Flint is doing a great job here with the art, and he's also part of the story here. And then also Leslie Julian and Doug Wood are as written and created by, and a whole host of other people here that are contributors to this work. And yeah, so I'm gonna definitely include links to as many of these people as I can. But yeah, I'm not gonna spoil too much, but I just wanted to talk about it a bit because I think that it's important to support independent creators. And this is fantasy related, so it's perfect for me talking about it here. So I highly recommend you seeking out the work of these people. Essentially, we have this battle between like orcs or ogres and this kind of tribe of barbarians. We get some nice character work in here, and just yeah, these panels, man, are some super dense panels of like people. Like he puts a different face on every one of them, and that's heavy. And then like I love also the kind of like light gray treatment of like this stuff in the background. Yeah. So just yeah, I love these. Yeah, very, very bulky, big bruiser barbarians here, and equally bulky ogres and trolls and shit, whatever they are, they have to fight. And so yeah, it's just a fun battle here, and it's got all these different stages to it. And part of the fun is just the crazy action that we get sold to us, which is just it's fun to watch, especially if this is your vibe. But like the key thing here is we got the king of the ogres they're fighting, but then there's a problem really when it comes down to succession here. Is who's the new king now that they've defeated this big enemy. And our hero, or our main character I should say, he loses his hand, and specifically like his right hand, which I think is pretty detrimental if you're a warrior and all you know is swinging a sword around or an axe around. And so the basic premise that when I was told by Les when I met him and he was telling me about this book was it's basically what if Conan the Barbarian was forced to become a wizard because he lost his hand. And that's essentially like the quick and dirty premise of this book is that he's kind of left to his own devices, and then he's met by this sorcerer character who is, prone to visions of a dire future. So we get promises of what is to come in this series as it goes. I mean, she's about to cut his fucking head off right here, or his scalp him or something. Yeah, like she's salvaging reagents from the battlefield, which is again like a cool concept. Lots of cool concepts in here, and they get a lot of story done in this issue. Like here he is waking up with like a saw in his head, like, and isn't she embarrassed? And then we have this big gross cut on his hand. So we get a little of their backstory, or at least of more of their world, and this magician here, she's gonna, most likely teach him the ways of sorcery. Yeah, it's definitely a different hand than what initially gets cut off, which, sometimes it's tough to keep track of that, but So yeah, the story progresses, and they have to deal with having a hand missing. I love the wizard's like really like twisty staff. But yeah, like there's a lot of shit happening in this initial book, which, when you have a Kickstarter book and you don't know how many books more you're going to be able to get done, you want to try to get as much as you can in. And I feel like they've done a hell of a job getting a lot of story out there and basically setting up this conflict between, our titular handless wizard here, savage wizard here, and the world. And we have our other wizard performing some cool magic, and I don't know. There is a lot of cool shit in this, and a lot of promise of more to be had. Like, look at this hand with a fucking eyeball in it. I don't know. There's lots of cool stuff, and I am a big fan of where it's headed. And yeah, here we have our wizard here, our warlock, our witch, our sorceress, whatever you want to call her, who's about to teach this dope some magic. Okay, so there's a little bit of switching. Hands there. It's a comedy book, so it could be intentional, but I would say that, if I could have any suggestions, moving forward, I would say just make sure you keep that stable. Keep that set, because it's kind of like Hellboy's right hand of doom. If he's switching that hand willy-nilly, wouldn't quite, it's called the right hand of doom for a reason. So I would say, just as a suggestion, I mean, the art is amazing, but just keeping that consistent just is adds a little bit more to it. Because even on this page, we go right hand, left hand, left hand, left hand, right hand. So I would just, that would be my suggestion. But that's a detail. It's a small thing, but just make it, just a suggestion. But yeah, there's so much great art in here, and it's fun. It's action packed. Get a little insight into the process here. I think that's exciting. I don't know. That's cool. Got our Kickstarter backers back here, and yeah, I just gonna say, this is a great start. I'm a big fan of what it's set up, where it's heading. I love the tone of it. It's a little wry. It's funny, and I think there's a lot more room to explore this interesting world, this interesting concept of like basically a brute who has to become a magician. I think that is funny, and I think that's a great concept, and I'm looking forward for more. As a little quick addendum to the Savage Wizard spotlight, I just also want to talk about another comic that Leslie Julian created with Dominic Zaruba called The Little Dragon Rider. And it's a nice, quick little self-contained story about a little girl who wants to be ride dragons competitively. And so it's a nice little, this quick little fantasy story about her first time in the races. And she has, like it's this big event, and she, it sets up these little, little rivalries. It's got her cute little red dragon here with a nice little horn on his nose. And it's also got, her dad, her kind of overbearing dad that she's trying to impress. And, I will just note, like, yes, there's some modernity in, the uniforms they're wearing, the goggles, his ball cap and jacket and his jumpsuit and everything. But, it's kind of a hybrid of kind of, fantasy clothing as well as modern clothing, but it's this nice little story that involves dragon riders, and we're already halfway through it, but it's just this cute little book, and it's practically a zine, but it's, I think, really just a nice tight little story, and I think I'm going to leave it here, just because I don't want to give it all away, but we are it's just nice. I think the drawing's really nice, really pleasing. It's a nice little all ages story, all ages book, and again, it's hard to make comics, so when you're able to put something together, especially something that looks so nice as this, I just want to shout it out. I want to support it. And if this looks interesting to you, definitely look into it. And again, support independent creators. So yeah, definitely look up these creators. And if you're interested, buy this book, or at the very least support them, because it's hard to be an independent creator. I know, because I create Side Questers, which is a fantasy book. And then I have Haxon, which is adjacent to that fantasy book. And then I also have 3-Panel Origin, which is my superhero comedy book. And all of these projects are passion projects. And I do it because I just have to. I'm compelled to do it. But I wrote stories that I want people to read. So if you want to support what I do, why don't you buy a copy, or at the very least go to Global Comics and read my comics. But yeah, definitely support Savage Wizard, and I'll see you next time.